guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? Happy almost Friday. You know how optimistic I am about Fridays, right? And this is only my second day this week streaming, so let's hope everything goes smooth today. The good thing is the internet went out yesterday because they were fixing things to make it go faster. So welcome, everybody. Good to see some of you guys I haven't seen in a while. I love covering other cases. And if you guys take a look at my schedule, I've got lots of cases coming up. Kaimani, we got to remember that is right in the middle of battle for Kaimani. Emily Pike, Kaimani Latigue. On Monday, I have a members only planned for you guys, and that members only is super secret members only. I'm not even telling you what it's about. But welcome. Good to see. I always shout out my first time viewers. Hello, show poodles. Welcome. Good to see you. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe if you haven't, and hit the notification bell. Good to see some of you guys. Nanaska says, I'm dying. Why are you dying? What are you dying? Today we're talking about Sebastian Rogers, and I'm giving you an actual update of everything I found in this case. Will Sebastian ever be found, you guys? And why are Katie and Chris acting so strange? That, thanks to Deception Detective. The other things, thank you to Channel 2 News Tennessee, Dateline, who put an article out. And you guys, this just gets crazier and crazier, this case. And I just want to stick to what's going on and the facts. So everybody else that does their thing, yeah, I go recommend, watch it. I wish Deception Detective will come on. I hope he comes through. Welcome, Karina. Thank you for being a member for 2 months. And thank you, Pam Todd, for becoming a member, I think, again. Now, DD doesn't collab in the traditional way. He collabs and he invites us to take his content, remix it, and give you the full story. All right. So I hope he comes through. You guys, welcome all the mods. Welcome everybody. Yesterday was cut short. Let's say a big fat prayer for Sebastian Rogers that he gets complete utter justice. And by that, I think he needs to be found. Once he's found, I hope that it gets properly looked at, and hopefully they find out what they need to. If criminal charges need to be filed, let them be filed. All right. So that's what we're doing today. We don't do Sebastian drama because it's just, that's not our thing. We want to get justice. All right. We want to make changes. We want to do laws, Maddie's laws. Eventually, Sebastian, I don't know if he's going to be found. I don't know how that's going to play out. I do not think, and you guys know my opinion on guilty of crime is that Sebastian is no longer with us. And today I'm going to spend some time telling you why. So welcome everybody. Good to see you. Rachel just got out of the shower and shaved my legs. Ready for the show. Ready. All right, guys. You guys do me a favor. Mods are in chat. Pay attention. They're dropping links. We got lots of new merch out there. We can make things for you if you want them. Just hit up Tiff in the chat. She's our merch person for 20 memberships coming up. So make sure you're liking and commenting. All right. All right, Debbie Cole, good to see you. I haven't been around in a while, so that's why you haven't seen me, but I'm here today and I'm back for a while. All right, so I usually do 5 days a week, sometimes 6. Today, we are going to take a look at what NBC Dateline is putting out. And I'm wondering, are they going to put an episode out about that? What are they doing with this? So let's just take a look at this, guys. This is family of Tennessee teen Sebastian Rogers still without answers more than a year after. Now, again, this is NBC. It's a Dateline article. 15-year-old who is on the autism spectrum was not in his bedroom on the morning of February 26, 2024, guys. This, and he hasn't been seen since. It's not charged as a criminal case. They haven't found any clues that we know about. Now, this was on April 3rd. So it's good to see other news coverage, and that's what we're here to do, is to cover the cases so that they're not forgotten, so that the family and the people that are looking can get a say. Now, I have been listening. I pay attention what's going on outside the case, and boy, have I heard Seth everywhere. Now, I gotta say, Seth is the one trying to move things. I know sometimes he does things that seem to be in desperation, and I think because he is desperate to find his son, you guys. So whether you have that same opinion or not, I do pay attention and I do hear him on channels and I do see the efforts that he's putting in, and I do believe that he is genuinely looking for Sebastian. That's my opinion. Teresa, thank you. Teresa, thank you for all your continued research. Jay, we appreciate you and your team. Well, you're part of the team, Teresa. So thank you for being here today. Thank you, Leanne Lutzak. I don't even know how to say that. Lutsiak, for becoming a member. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget Monday, we're going to do a secret members only. All right. So let's just remember Sebastian here right now. I'm going to read you this NBC News Dateline article, which is good because we need national and international coverage here, right? So I'm going to tell you again before we get into the interviews and the deception detective stuff. Katie Proudfoot, this is them reporting, recalls the evening of Sunday, February 25th as a typical one in the home of Hendersonville, Tennessee. Her 15-year-old son, Sebastian Rogers, got ready for bed around 9 p.m. She said, I love you, or he said, I love you to his mom and his 2 dogs, and then headed to bed. All right, so we go from 9 o'clock, got an hour in between. Katie remembers hearing a noise at 10. She says, I hollered to him and he answered me, and I didn't think a whole lot. So we're going to guess around 10 a.m. something happened there. Hour after he went to bed, she said she had no idea her life would be very different in the morning. Morning comes, Katie goes to her son's room 6 a.m. when she went to wake him up for school. She went in his room and she was like, dude, time to get up. Normally he will look around, like turn and look, and he didn't. And I realized he wasn't in his bed, Katie said. All right, so as I'm looking at this article, I'm reading this here, and I'm like, okay, so we go from 9 o'clock at night to 10, and then we go from 10 o'clock until 6 in the morning. We go from 10 to 6 in the morning. What happened from 10 to 6 in the morning? What was Katie doing? Was she talking to Chris? Where was Chris? What was happening? Now, I'm sure that we have come to find out by now that Seth was at work at that time. So we got from 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. the next day. What's up, the Off-White Lotus? Good to see you. DD is the dawn. I agree. Welcome. Melissa, glad to be here and a member. Great job. Do me a favor, show love, hit the like button, share, subscribe. Yeah, get a membership if you do that. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa, and everybody that's here to support the channel. All right. So, I mean, what happened from 10 to 6? I ask you, just 1,000-foot view. What happened? All right. So she says maybe he got up before me. And so I went through the house. And when I didn't see him, it was when I was starting to panic a little bit. Katie said, I ran through like literally every area of the house, everywhere. And that's when I started to panic. All right. Now, this is Katie talking to Dateline 3 weeks ago, we'll say. All right. So Katie says she jumped in her car and began driving around the neighborhood. She also called her husband, Chris, Sebastian's stepfather, who was out of town. It's like terror. She said, what happened? Where did he go? Now, many people are scrutinizing this right now. So I'm reporting on right now, guys. And right now, people are questioning why Katie was driving around looking for Sebastian, but not really looking for Sebastian, is what they're saying. They're saying that she was driving around. They never seen her windows down. They never seen her calling out for him. So people are kind of skeptical about her saying that. What's up, Steph, Joe, Nicole? Right. I agree. I agree with that 100%. Justice for Sebastian. All right. So she's recalling this later, and we're going to go back and scrutinize what she's talking about. T-Ree, have to do dinner. Be back later. Good to see you. All right. He was hiding out that poor boy's body. He was hiding out that poor boy's body. That's interesting. Yeah, I can't wait to find Sebastian, you guys. I don't think that this drama that's going on is going to help find him. It's actually going to help people want to stay away from the case. And I'll tell you that next about the drama. And it's drama that's in the news, right? It's not drama on the internet. It's actual drama that made it into the courtroom. And you guys know Bullhorn Betty. She's harassing this family. So that's going to be next. Court just happened on that. And Chris and Katie were in court telling the judge that she was harassing them. Right now, this isn't part of this, but I'm just moving a little bit forward. All right, Katie says she headed to Sebastian's school, got on a three-way call with Chris and Sumner County Sheriff's Office. By the time she got there, she was told to turn around and head home because law enforcement was headed for their house. So now she says, in quotes, it was just like more and more people were coming and everyone was looking. And every time someone came back and they didn't have him, Katie couldn't finish the thought. All right. So Sebastian's on the autism spectrum, as you know. You wouldn't recognize him as a special needs person by looking at him, Katie says. He's smart and capable and functional, but he does have areas he struggles in. So this is a little bit different than some of the things Katie said about Sebastian. It's kind of nice to hear good things. Katie told Dateline that Sebastian does respond differently in certain situations. He has sensory issues with loud noises, specifically like spontaneous ones. So he does avoid sudden loud noises, she said. He also hates bugs and would avoid any area where he saw one, according to his mother. What Sebastian loves is water. He swims like a fish, Katie said. All right, so search efforts were immediate and intense, large scale. Sheriff Eric Craddock of Sumner County Sheriff's Office told Dateline. All right, now this makes sense to me why they were looking for Sebastian in the water, because she says he loves water. So they went out, did searches. Maybe he drowned. No effort. I mean, a lot of effort, nothing fruitful, right? Now, yeah, Bullhorn Betty is a very special lady, I'll say. I don't know her. I don't listen to her content, but boy, do you not harass families and harassing. I didn't realize that tagging the family, and it is. What's up, Anna? Good to see you here, my friend from Florida. Wild Wolf, good to see you. I didn't realize if you did a video. Now I don't do this. I hashtag things, but I don't put at and then put their handle at Chris and Katie, whatever. I don't harass them personally. We talk about the case. I don't believe the story is correct, and that's what I say. But Bullhorn Betty's going all out, going to their house. It's been 8 months, and now she's back again for more harassment. All right, which I'm going to read next. So just getting to this. Over a year later, 3 weeks ago, and we got Dateline telling the story, which is good. I wonder how long before the episode comes out, or an episode. All right. So TBI endangered child alert was pushed out, and when that was elevated to statewide amber alert, website states due to Sebastian's love of water, pools in the neighborhood were searched, dive teams were brought, and bodies of water around the neighborhood and beyond the area were searched, including caves. All right. Now, in the email to Dateline, Sheriff Craddock, if I'm not saying that right, sorry, elaborated on what resources were used in the search. Everything: foot, canine, drone, air assets, fixed wing and helicopter, horse, mounted patrol, USAR, resources from across state and federal government assisted with the case. He wrote, the search during the week he went missing was extremely large scale. All right. So the office even employed unconventional methods. Notably, they encouraged participants in the search party to play Sebastian's favorite music in attempt to draw him out. Now, this advice was called in by a citizen and tried, and will continue to try it on anything to bring resolution to the case. Craddock said. Now you can see that the big search area there, which is great. I'm glad that they're doing their due diligence. And but I do wish they would find Sebastian and bring him home. All right. All right. Good to see everyone. Thank you for rolling in here. Uber says mouthful, because every time they open their mouths, guess what they do? They sound ungrateful, they sound pushy, they sound kind of yeah, they sound like bullies, especially Chris. So yeah, I would say that. That's my opinion. All right, Ida says she passed out flyers on the street and criticized the parents' behavior online. Dozens have done the same. No not harassment, in my opinion. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing here. Right? But whatever's reported is what I'm reporting on. I'm not reporting on what other people of a other channel say or whatever. I don't want to get into that. They have the case. They know more of the different players and I kind of stay back from that. All right, so Katie believes that wherever Sebastian went, he had every intention of coming back home. I don't think he went anywhere, Katie. I don't think he went anywhere. And I think you know. But we're going to listen to what she says. She says they actually have animals in the school that kids will work with in advance through the classes. And that's what he really wanted. He wanted to get in there and start working with animals. And you guys, I do think he was looking forward, unless somebody could tell me otherwise. I do think he was looking forward to going to live with Seth. Just my opinion. All right. Just my opinion on that. All right. Yeah, no, he did not run away. In my opinion, I do not believe that he ran away. I do believe that there's a huge gap in time, according to Katie's report, then and now, and there are too many circumstances that lead right back to Katie, which we'll get into real soon. All right. So, I mean, this is, I believe I tagged this NBC Dateline Missing in America Sebastian. All right. So they further go on to talk about, they give a statement understanding the community's the community's concern, deep concern and desire for answers. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Their priority is finding Sebastian and bringing resolution. All right. It's interesting to hear what Katie says later on. At this time, Sebastian was 5'5", 120 pounds, which is important for you guys and all of us to remember. 5'5", 120 pounds, wearing glasses, black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, and black frames. Proudfoots believe Sebastian may have not been wearing shoes when he disappeared. Every pair of shoes in the house have been accounted for. All right, Chris told Dateline. Chris and Katie want to make the public aware of some of Sebastian's identifying features. He has large freckles on his back, the back of his neck, and walks on his toes. He also has a unique run, putting his arms slightly behind and leaning forward. They urge anyone who thinks to see Sebastian to not approach and to call 911. Let law enforcement handle it if someone spots him, but please stay vigilant. This is what Chris said, all right? All right, so TBI, ask if you have any information to call the tip line, 1-800-TBI-FIND. So this is good. This is good, guys. It's really good when you get nationwide, international, I should say. That's what I should say. Now, I'm going to play this video in a minute. She is harassing me. Parents of missing Sumner County teen testify against a YouTuber covering the case, guys. Bullhorn Betty. Lil Red says, who finds a resolution? Who says find a resolution on a missing child? Sounds so weird. All right. I imagine that's how you're saying it. All right. I wish I could hear you guys. You can hear me. I wish I could hear you. All right. Yeah. Who doesn't wear shoes? And who has that large of gaps in time when you're awake? When you're awake from 10 to 6, you didn't say you went to sleep. You didn't have anything going on, but there's this huge gap. What's happening? Only me, baby. Yes, there is something new going on unless you saw unless you saw them in court this last week. Right? Chris was there and he was responsible and bullying Katie, just my opinion. And I always say I'd love to get Katie and Chris separate. And when I say separate, maybe Chris is cheating on Katie or they split up. I'd love to see how Katie's everything changes, right? All right. So Wild Wonder, curious if they checked the person that claimed Sebastian. Maybe they had something to do with it. I don't know, but we're not hearing that, right? We're not hearing that. All right. So here's the article. Her name is Andrea Griffin, Bullhorn Betty, right? And she's harassing these people. I do not recommend that. So we're just going to get into the video. I'm going to pull this down and we're going to pull it right up and listen to it. You guys, let me remind you, do me a favor. You are the ones that support the channel, keep me going. If you have the means, like Foxy, to gift a membership, thank you. Please do. If you can super chat, super sticker, only if you have the means. So some people will message me and say, I'm sorry, I can't donate to your channel. Please don't say that. If you don't have the means, you don't need to explain yourself to me, you guys. We're all good. Thank you, Foxy, for the Guilty of Crime 420 membership. If you have the means, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Super Chat, Super Sticker. But if you don't, please don't apologize. All right. I don't want you guys feeling like that at all. All right. So let's listen up here. This shocked me. All right. This shocked the crap out of me when I was scrolling through, looking up the news and digging into Sebastian. I don't follow all that stuff. I don't follow all the channels. I think the closest one I follow, you guys, is and yeah, by the way, it's free to hit the like button and share my content. That gets me in the algorithm. More people see it. I was very surprised to see them in I was surprised to see them all in court and that happening. I was like, wow, that was like 8 months ago. She's still doing that. Again, the only person I think close that I even watch is Dolly, and Dolly Vision. When he's doing the Sebastian thing, he tells you when he's being facetious about something, or when he's joking, or when he's being serious. So I think Dolly's the only one I could really stand that reports on this case for hours. And of course, Deception Detective. All right. I like this. Play with fire, you're gonna get burned. Who's got the fire? I got the fire, only me, baby. You remember, I'm a Leo. I'm a full-blown fire sign Leo. Moon, sun, all that. Leo, Leo, Leo. Check the box. So I'd say play with fire, you're gonna get burned. Who wants to play? Is that a good one? Who wants to play? You found the fire, baby. You found it. All right. Yes. Keep that up. Let's watch this, guys.
To an increased fear because of the danger from threats, harassment, and as well as trespassing.
The family of a missing Sumner County teenager made their case today against a YouTuber who's been covering the case of Sebastian Rogers' disappearance. They claim Bullhorn Betty stalked and harassed their family despite orders of protection. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 6.
Now, this is real life reportable drama. Real life drama that we can report on because it's freaking happening in court. Thank you guys for all the love, all the prayers for Sebastian, all the comments. CBC, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. I'd love to pick your brain about some things. I know you have my email, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit. If you have a chance, email me. Also, guys, I'm looking for somebody. There's a lot of people that message me pretty often. What's up, Voices, Carrie? There's a lot of people that email me and say, hey, if I can ever help you, let me know. I'm looking for, there's Grizzly True Crime, and then there's Grizzly Cat. I'm looking for the Grizzly Cat of Grizzly True Crime. If you know what that means, I'm looking for someone to help me with court documents, to find them. Like, I want to get the Keimani documents. There's other documents I want to get, and I want someone that has experience with getting documents in each county or each state. So if they're available, I want you guys email me. If somebody can help me, if someone wants to help, I always get messages asking if you guys can help. All right. So if you guys guiltyofcrimeby@gmail.com, I do need more help with finding different different documents. Right now, we kind of got the Madeline Soto stuff down, but we did lose the mod that was doing that. Carly also helps me, but I need help on other cases and getting documents. So that being said, you guys know I work full time during the day, and then I come here. If anybody wants to help me, my email is guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com, and I need help finding documents of certain cases. Just shoot me an email if that's something that you guys want to do. All right, you know that researchers and the mods don't get paid, but certainly we would love to talk about, dropping, having if you need help or you need what some of the other people do. We can talk about the buy me a coffee thing, whatever. All right, just hit me up. Let me know what you want, how you can help, and that'll be good. And Psychic Amelia, hey, that's perfect right there. I could use all the help of people that want to do something good and don't exactly know what it is they can do. All right, let's get into this. I appreciate every single one of you. Yeah, help with documents. All right. I can't do that all day because I work and then I've got my child and other things. So thank you.
I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry was in court as a judge decided whether a criminal case against the YouTuber should move forward.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
For about an hour this afternoon, Katie and Chris Proudfoot testified against YouTuber Andra Griffin, also known as Bullhorn Betty, claiming she violated the terms of 3 order of protections.
Are you tagged in this video?
I am.
All right, so now you guys know that's harassment of tagging someone, apparently, and I get that. It's harassment depending on what it is, but yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. What I do is I just block you guys. All right, welcome Rebecca Michelo. She says, hello, everyone. Let's wish her a good vibes, good everything, prayers in pursuit of full justice for Corey Mitchell, and hope that Christopher Greger writes her back. All right, guys, let's keep going. Uber, hey, email me. All right, let's go. We can learn to do it together. Freedom of speech, absolutely right. But listen up, let's keep going here. I agree with freedom of speech.
Is your full name tagged in this video?
It is.
She's reporting a bunch of lies. She's harassing me.
I'm not
Harassing my
asking
family.
about.
Sebastian Rogers' case gained national attention from news outlets and social media users after he disappeared from his home in Hendersonville last year.
All right, so let me just break this down for you real quick. It's not confusing once I tell you. Hashtags are not tagging. Tagging is when you hit the @ symbol and then you put the user's name. So if I was to put Lil Red 0 and it tags and I'm talking trash, let's say I'm talking trash about Lil Red 0, I would never do that to Lil Red, but let's say I want to do that and then I talked a bunch of trash and then I @ symbol Lil Red 0, that's considered tagging. Now hashtagging is way different. I always hashtag Katie Proudfoot, Chris Proudfoot. That doesn't go to them, but when you tag them, it goes to them. All right. And you don't want to harass people. They did. I agree. Let's play this. I just want to break it down a little bit.
Griffin, with her 38,000 subscribers, was one of those YouTubers covering the case.
Ms. Griffin has reported, I would say frequently, on the disappearance of your son, Sebastian. Is that right?
Daily, sometimes multiple times a day.
In August, Sebastian's mom and step-grandparents were given an order of protection against the YouTuber after they say she stalked and harassed them. Griffin was then banned from having any contact with the family, directly or indirectly. But the Proudfoots told the court that same day Griffin violated the terms by talking about them in a YouTube live stream and including their names in hashtags.
After this case is said and done, I will be going after the Proudfoots and the Ballastops for damages.
Immediately, we showed our phones to Detective Bynes and said, look, it's already started.
The initial preliminary hearing today was cut short, with the judge saying he could not reside over the case due to threats. The hearing was then passed to a different judge who oversaw the case. Attorneys for both sides argued about intentions and what is included in the First Amendment.
If she didn't intend for Chris Proudfoot to view the video, why would you hashtag Chris Proudfoot? If she didn't intend for
Yeah, see, hashtags are way different. Hashtags are like that's what everybody does, right? I heard some stuff about that. I heard some things recently. T-Rev is talking about Dolly saying he stole my hashtags. No, everybody gets hashtags. You can hashtag. So if they are talking about hashtags, that's ridiculous. But bullying anybody and harassing anybody is unacceptable. I'm on that end of things, and it's just unacceptable to do that. So hashtags, yes, and I hear you, Lil Red. That's what we're getting to. Yes, she was hashtagging, not tagging, which is two separate things. Yeah, threats, that's extreme. I mean, that's happening right now. That's happening right now to yours truly, and I'm just hitting block. Block. I'm gonna be more like, okay, we're in the show, and then when I'm out of the show, I don't see anything going on because it doesn't help. I can't take them seriously. Yeah, right. They should be there looking for their son. They should be doing something else besides that. That's just crazy.
Miss Katie Proudfoot, to view the video, why would you hashtag Katie Proudfoot?
This is First Amendment protected speech.
You
There
can
has to be some
hashtag,
action that will require that by Miss Griffin to direct that to the petitioners. And the statute clearly says that it's only a violation if the defendant knowingly does that.
This case is moving to a grand jury on May 23rd. The order of protection is still in place for all parties, and the judge ruled that she can say the Proudfoot's names in her coverage, but will face consequences if she steps over the line of protected speech. Bob.
All right. So I just think that's wild what's going on. It's absolutely wild what's happening in this case. And I would be devastated if one of my family members, especially my child, the kid that went missing, I wouldn't act anything like this, but hey, you guys know my feelings about these the dumbfoots, right? Hashtag dumbfoot was what I hashtag it as. All right, so we're gonna start with yours truly and Deception Detective here, which I love so much. We go back and forth on the on his community, in his community thread. He's smart. He only does a community thread, no personal interaction. And he said, it's been a while since you've covered my stuff. All right. So Kelly says, what does that mean being in the army have to do? I don't know. I don't know what that has. Someone else has to elaborate. Yeah, grand jury, because I think they're trying to take her to a full trial on the harassment charge, which I don't think they're going to get anything. All right, the smugfoots. I say dumbfoots there, because here we go. This is beyond ungrateful, says Deception Detective. And when I was watching this, I was like, yes, he said that. He said that. Yes. All right, let's go. Let's go, guys. So now we're caught up in what I know. This just dropped 18 hours ago. It's new. Let's listen.
To my original request, just anyone that's willing, don't let him become forgotten. Don't let him become lost in the next story, not to supersede other children, because they all deserve just as much, if not more attention, because all children do. But I would say just please don't let him become forgotten and lost, because we're never gonna stop. We're never gonna let that happen if we can help it.
Oh yeah, let's break
That's
this
Katie
down.
Proudfoot, and I don't think she actually wants to find her missing son, Sebastian Rogers. It's not just
Agreed.
because of statements like that, where she literally asked us to prioritize other children over her own son, or the fact that she's talking about him like he's already passed away when he's only been missing for a year. No, it's also because of how she and her husband, Chris Proudfoot, treat the people who are actually trying to find Sebastian. So in today's video, let's continue watching their most recent TV interview, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis.
And we're going to tear them up.
Lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit like and subscribe for early access to new videos, exclusive.
And you guys know Deception Detective's our guy. And less than a month after Sebastian went missing, she done upped and moved out. All right. Now I know that's not proper English. She got up and she moved out, and they went in the RV. And I don't know if they're happily ever after or what, but they're not out there looking. They're not doing much. They go into court for those things. They didn't go to the vigil. They were spotted out there looking for a new Harley and taking pictures. while everybody else was doing that. All right. The other children deserve more attention. Really, it's like pay attention to those cases, not this one. Absolutely. That I could not believe she said that. And let's get into this. That blew my mind. That I agree with that statement on my channel, but it's not my child that's missing. She kept going to their house, and people go to their job. Yeah, that's absolutely ludicrous. That she did that like 8 months ago, and now they're still not happy. That is unacceptable. All right, let's listen to this. Wild.
Videos and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. If you missed my earlier episodes breaking down the first part of this interview, don't worry, I'll link them at the end. For now, the main gist is Sebastian Rogers is an autistic teen who disappeared about a year ago. In the interview we're going to analyze is his biological mother, Katie, who was last seen with him alive, and his stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, who was apparently out of town when he went missing. All right, let's pick up where we left off with them telling the interviewer about a video that recently surfaced, which might show Sebastian sneaking away the evening he supposedly went missing.
You were determined to get to the bottom of this, to get to the bottom of that video.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that could possibly be something that could lead us to him. We're going to keep looking.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to keep digging and keep finding and confirm if it is or isn't, because, I mean,
because you want your son back,
possible, then
Sebastian.
It's got to be confirmed.
How hopeful are you that this video truly has something that could lead to finding Sebastian?
I pray that if there is anything even remotely in it that could help us find Sebastian, I pray that it is.
And she talks outside of herself quite a bit. Notice that she talks outside of herself in suppositions, like if it were her doing that, but it is her doing that. That's her child. Pay attention how she talks. Deception detectives in the house. Game over, game over, game over. Hello, DD. Good to see you, my friend. And everybody in chat is probably happy to see you as well. All right. And thank you for this.
I don't know how to word it, but it's followed up and found out and confirmed one way or the other, because,
Sharon,
you know, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the video. I know what's in it. It actually gives us more rejuvenated hope.
Does it really?
That we may actually be onto something. We just have to run it down. We've got to figure this out. And the law enforcement doing what they can, and with the help of like TBI, the FBI, all of that. I mean, I believe Secret Service was involved in the beginning. Maybe they can look at this video as well. Let's bring people back to the table, and let's exercise every possibility of enhancing this video, looking at whatever, and tackling what it is.
Looking at whatever.
It sounds like Chris wants all the help he can get analyzing that video,
but then
his actions say otherwise. As I said in the intro, the Proudfoots say they want help, but when someone actually helps them, it's a different story. The best known example.
This is fantastic. Now, the rest of this video is going to talk about that, but watch how Katie, and I'm not sure that we call that out. It's just me calling it out, how Katie talks outside of herself. If it's like, if I were to say, if this happened to me, I would do this. Well, this is happening to you, and this is what you're doing. Why aren't you talking about what you're doing? Why are you, what? All right. Good to see you, Carly. I don't know if you just rolled in, but what's up? All right, let's keep going.
Example of this, of course, is Dog the Bounty Hunter, who volunteered his services, but has only been met with resistance from the Proudfoots. But when it comes to the video, there actually is someone on YouTube who's been breaking down all the videos related to this case in great detail.
You guys know.
And that is YouTuber Mob Crew. And just like Dog the Bounty Hunter and everyone else who's been working for free to try to figure out what happened to Sebastian, Chris isn't very grateful. In fact, here's the thanks Mob Crew got from Chris on a live stream not long ago.
You know what? I even went in and told Mob Crew that when he was sitting there talking all that, there was a whole bunch of shit he was saying. I can't remember what all he said, but I went in there. I said, well, if you really want to know that bad, why don't you go in there? Why don't you go ask him? He's got no problem speaking to you.
Well, I got Mob Crew a better one. You want to look at your videos very carefully, and you want to get them done correctly? Get off your damn computer and bring your ass down here and come find me. And I'll walk with you on every part of this road and walk with you on every part of your video. I got no problem with it. But when you sit behind a damn keyboard and you do the shit that you're doing, you play with fire, you're liable to get burned. You might want to reconsider some of the things he's doing right now.
Yeah, that's interesting, and he does that quite a bit. He threatens and threatens and threatens. Like I don't watch all these all the time, but it's constant of somebody calling in one of the Dumbfoots or Seth going on a live and people going crazy. They're looking for their son Sebastian that's been missing over a year now, and he's threatening. That is a threat, and he does that over and over. All right, good to see you, my Leo twin, Sharon Belko. Good to see you. Yeah, Anna, that was my next thought. If he speaks to people like this, don't you think that he was speaking to Sebastian like this? And I'm sure he speaks to Katie like this as well.
Because he potentially may have a bigger issue down the road.
Some thanks, huh? And the way that the Proudfoots ask for help, but then refuse it when they actually get
Right.
it, is part of a bigger sign of a hoax. And that is contradictions. In other words, when you're telling the truth, everything adds up and makes sense because you want help, so you're cooperating when you get it. But if you're pretending, you know you need to ask for help, but when someone comes along who can actually figure out the truth, it's not in your interest to cooperate. And therein lies the contradiction. But as we listen on, you'll see that there's plenty of smaller contradictions in their story too.
Let's bring people back to the table, and let's exercise every possibility of enhancing this video, looking at whatever.
And he's stuck on that
tackling
video.
What it is to get an answer.
Now, this is your chance to respond, to speak out, to speak your mind, whatever it is that you want to say. But you know, no matter what the story is, there are always people who will point fingers. What do you want to say to anyone out there who wants to say that one of you could have something to do with Sebastian's disappearance?
I would say to pause and to think, and I would say to consider the sources of information.
And she keeps saying that this is when it starts. If we go back 3, 2, 1, this is when it starts. I would say is a big telltale in itself. When you start off with, I would say, now she's saying, but she's talking for herself. So why is she? I just don't get it. And yeah, absolutely. If Chris talks like that, imagine how he talked to Sebastian and how he talks to Katie. You see how passive she is when she's with him. All right. All right, let's keep going. You guys got really good comments. Keep them coming.
Information. Try to make sure that you're getting legitimate information. Avoid the rumors. And I would say that everyone should pause and remember why we all came together in the first place. And that is because Sebastian's missing, and because I'd like to believe that we all want to find him. And no matter what anyone's personal opinion is, that the most important thing still remains that Sebastian needs to be found, and Sebastian needs to come home.
She closes her
And I would
eyes when
just
she says
say
it.
thank you to everyone and anyone that is a part of that.
Well, Katie, you're welcome. Remember, she was answering a question about people like me, people who say that she has something to do with Sebastian's disappearance.
Another.
But besides thanking me, I also like the fact that she didn't say I'm wrong or that I'm lying or I'm mistaken, nor did she say that she and Chris are innocent, or even that they didn't have anything to do with Sebastian's disappearance, which I would have expected her to say if that were the case. Typically, when people are falsely accused of something, they say that their accusers are wrong or they're mistaken. But if you're actually guilty, saying that might not even occur to you in the first place.
And I would just say thank you to everyone and anyone that is a part of that.
That's what you want to say?
So let's
or are you
say
saying it?
Sebastian is listening when this is running, and he hears you, he sees you. What do you want to say to him?
About this?
I would say that I love you so very much, and that I hope that you're okay. And I would say that know that we all love you, and that there are so many people that care and so many people that are looking, and
does that include
hang
you?
in there and know that we're going to find you, know that we're going to bring you home. I miss him so much.
Every time she says his name or says something, she closes her eyes like she's remembering
So at this
something.
point, it's keep searching. People keep looking.
Keep searching.
Yeah, what does that mean? Like, so I she saying she would say it, but she's not. And then every time she closes her eyes, it's like she is remembering what happened. She closes them and says something about that. It just absolutely doesn't make sense. Yeah, and there you go. She moved away. Who moves away? Well, Jen Soto does. Jen Soto sits at home also and doesn't do a damn thing. Just
searching, keep looking. We keep putting up new flyers. I know a lot of places, they take them down after so long. We just keep going back and putting more up. I refer to my original request, just to anyone that's willing, don't let him become forgotten. Don't let him become lost in the next story, not to supersede other children, because they all deserve just as much, if not more attention.
Yeah,
because
but
all
your
children do.
son
But
is
I
what
would
we're talking
say
about.
just please don't let him become forgotten and lost, because we're never gonna stop. We're never gonna let that happen if we can help it.
As I said in the intro, Katie speaks about Sebastian as if he's already dead, as if the best we can do is keep his memory alive. Even when she was addressing Sebastian directly
Right
at the
there,
interviewer's
man.
prompting, by the
Right
way,
there.
she was speaking in platitudes, hang in there, we love you, rather than giving urgent, concrete advice, just in case he literally is watching. Like, Sebastian, if you're watching this, call 911. Mommy and daddy are looking for you. Or, Sebastian, if you're out there, we're sorry if we did anything that made you run away. Well, we forgive you for everything. We'll make it up to you. Just please come back home. In fact, when Katie was talking about hanging up posters, she wasn't even asking other people to hang up posters. She seemed more concerned about telling us that she and Chris are out there hanging up posters. In other words, she was more concerned about communicating to us that they're actively looking for him rather than actually soliciting help from other people to find him, which might even be an example of over-persuasion, or someone who has a guilty conscience and feels the need to prove something that usually just goes unsaid.
With his autism, is there anything else that we should add that you want the public to know right now?
Somebody that
I
knows.
would say that he is high, what they would consider high functioning. He's not, he doesn't struggle with verbal communication, but he does, he does struggle sometimes with expressing himself, is, I guess, the best way that I could.
Right, and she is methodically speaking right now, very slow, very distancing language from herself, stopping and looking up. I wonder if we're going to find Sebastian and when. All right, that's what I want to know. That's my whole topic of today. Will he ever be found? I don't know. Again, you guys talk about them being in the military. If they were in the military and they know what to do and they know how to hide a body or get rid of it, I don't know. Yep, Jay's in one of my favorite live chats I actually participate in. Low drama. There you go. Love it. Body turquoise yoga pose. That's what we love. We love it. That's what I need to do, is just have that and only talk there. All right, let's keep going.
Can put that. But he's so smart and he's so capable, and that I think the initial image of him that was portrayed was misleading to an extent. And I think that in the chaos of trying to get the initial information about him out, that various things got taken and misconstrued. So I would just tell everyone that he's smart, he's capable, he's funny, he's able to speak to you and to recognize things. He's a teenager, and so he's a young man. Honestly, he just had a birthday, and I'm sure that his mustache is coming in more. I mean, he really is a good kid.
What do you miss most about your son?
Oh, God. I miss his smile. I miss his laugh.
Such
I
scripting.
miss going and doing fun things with him. I miss taking him to get a haircut and him saying, "Mom, feel my head." I miss cooking dinner with him. I miss game nights. He would play Uno until the sun came up if you let him. He goes through
she's
phases
changed.
of which games he's into.
Hold on. she's changed her narrative on how she says it. She says the same things, but she tries to soften it by speaking slow, right? That's not what she said about it at first. And you're the one that put that narrative out there. It's very scripted. After reading that Dateline NBC article to you that I just did before this, she said the same exact thing. So it's just very like cookie cutter. This is what we're going to say. We're going to keep it there. If we stick to this, we're good. And don't use him in the past tense, because she does talk about him in the past tense and she catches herself in another part of the interview. Sharon, good to see you. She did all that with her son, and this is the motion she shows when he's missing. Yeah, Jen Soto, Soto 2.0, or whatever you want, either one, right? Both their children went missing on the same day, you guys. Both of them. All right. So both of them, but Maddie was found days later.
No, I miss him. I miss everything about him, the good, the bad. I miss his attitude. I miss, him trying to eat all the sweets instead of dinner. I miss him stealing my Brussels sprouts while I'm trying to cook them.
I sense lots of joy that's being missed right now.
Green tea.
His jokes.
Again, I don't know if that was meant as an inside thing of them teasing him. It kind of sounds like it, because when I saw that green tea video, it was just, I was like, that's not really that funny. And it makes Sebastian look like he's not able to communicate. Green tea, that's all he says. It's like she didn't put anything out there that we can see how he interacts or any of that. It just sounds like they're making fun of him in a way. Yeah, they're both potatoes. What happened in between those hours, Katie, of 9 and 10 p.m.? And then from 10 p.m. until 6 in the morning, what were you doing? What did you do? Why is that part missing?
The way he laughs when he tells a funny.
I don't like analyzing innocent parents. And one of the main reasons is how manipulative they are.
They are
They
laughing.
tug at your heartstrings by talking about their kid as weak, vulnerable. If you saw my video, What Do Innocent Parents Look Like? You'll know that Landon Bullard, the mother of Gannon Stouch, talked about him when he was a baby. And the reason for that is because they want to inspire some emotion in the people listening to them so they might just help. That was a clip from my video analyzing Desiree Young, the mother of missing child Kyron Hormone. And it's actually pretty illustrative because Katie did the exact opposite of what Desiree did. Rather than telling us about how urgent it is to find Sebastian and how weak he is or vulnerable, instead she told us that he's a teenager who is starting to grow a mustache. If I were a volunteer and I had to decide where to allocate my time and resources, would I choose to help Kyron Hormone, who sounds like he really needs the help and it's very urgent, or Sebastian Rogers, who his mother painted as pretty capable of handling himself and may have possibly run away? After all, he's a 16-year-old with hormones and a mustache. I think the answer is clear.
Right.
In fact, the answer is so clear, I wonder if this is yet another subtle attempt from Katie to push searchers and volunteers onto other cases and to simply move on from Sebastian. Let them get along with their lives. Quit prying into them. Fortunately for Sebastian and unfortunately for the Proudfoots, I don't think my audience has any interest in moving along anytime soon. If you want to continue analyzing this interview, let me know by liking, commenting, and sharing.
And we do. Thank you for being here, Deception Detective, in the chat. We appreciate you. I understand not wanting to be on, a live stream or collaborating with people, because then it starts to get messy and you know better than that. So thank you for just being in chat. I appreciate your content, guys. Everybody, we appreciate him, and he's got more. So I've kind of banked his content. Here's the next video that says this was a mistake. So I have been covering the Soto case very heavily. I've been covering the Keimani Lateef case, any other case that I feel like needs attention. And then what happens is a Soto case comes and I got a report on that. Trial dates have changed. I didn't even finish my content, and there's more for Soto, but I have to do other things this week. So we banked it. Let's get into this next part. This was a mistake. All right, here's the next one. More DD, guys.
Year after Sebastian's disappearance, there's no really strong lead. There's no sighting yet. So tell me what you're feeling now. Here we are 1 year later.
Don't forget, guys, hit the like button, share, subscribe.
I struggle to put words to how it feels, honestly.
You've got plenty of words.
That's Chris and Katie
times.
Proudfoot, and I think they know what happened to their missing son, Sebastian Rogers. So in today's video, let's watch their most recent interview and count all the red flags.
Yes.
I'm deception detective and attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit like and subscribe. For early access to new videos, exclusive videos, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. Now, even if you followed my channel for a while, you might not be familiar with this particular case because I haven't covered it as much as other ones like Madeline McCann and John Benet Ramsey. So here's a quick recap. Sebastian Rogers is an autistic teen who disappeared last year from his parents' home. He was home alone with his biological mom, and his stepdad, Chris Proudfoot, was supposedly out of town at the time. Despite a massive search effort in Tennessee, where he's from, there's still no evidence that would suggest one theory, like a kidnapping or a runaway, over another. So put a pin in all that because it's going to be important as we listen on.
Yeah,
Finally,
this is
one last thing
great.
before we grab our deception decks and start analyzing Chris and Katie. In America, everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
There you
But
go.
this isn't a courtroom. I'm not a judge, and we're not a jury. We have every right to form an opinion based on the evidence available to us. You don't have to be sure of your opinion beyond a reasonable doubt to utter it.
Right. And be respectful with each other and them. We don't want to go out and harass anyone ever, right? Even Jen Soto. We're better than that. We're bigger than that. We want Jen Soto to get arrested and we want justice to be had for Madeline, but we don't want to try to play judge, jury, and executioner, but we want to know what they're doing, what's going on, why aren't they doing this, what's happening, where's Sebastian? Where's Sebastian? What are people talking about every day when they're streaming for hours and hours about Sebastian? What's happening? What's new? All right. What's up, Wyatt? Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, Kyron's another case. And I think the stepmother absolutely, in my opinion, had something to do with it. Good to see you, Roberta. Sharon just sent a Venmo. Thank you so much. Thank you to give some memberships. I'll do that right now. And that shows you I'm guilty of crime. We have no shortage of people that give and support our community. So those that don't, liking and subscribing and sharing is what helps. All right, let's keep going. We got a lot to cover.
Nor does the evidence you use to form that opinion have to be admissible in court. In other words, innocent until proven guilty is a legal concept. It's not life advice. And to say otherwise is to delegate your critical thinking to someone else. Okay, now that I got that on the record, let's listen.
So here we are, because it's an entire year after Sebastian's disappearance. There's no really strong lead. There's no sighting yet. So tell me what you're feeling now. Here we are 1 year later.
I struggle to put words to how it feels, honestly. The amount of ups and downs.
Very
the
careful.
amount of
very careful
possible leads that haven't panned out.
What
every day, it's like waking up to this reality
I'm
that
a
it's
member.
actually real. And
why is she so slow? She's thinking, guys. She doesn't want to.
with us.
She doesn't want to say the wrong
he should
thing.
be in school. He should be playing. He should be learning. He should be experiencing life. And until we can find him and until we can bring him home,
come on.
We're going to keep doing everything we can to make sure that people don't forget about him. We're going to keep making sure that we spread awareness for him. And
now, you guys, I have this at 1.2 speed, and she's still talking that slow and thinking about what she's going to say, because when it goes off script, she doesn't know what to say. She has to think about it. And I'm going to thank Sharon Belko for gifting those 5 guilty of crime memberships. I hope that somebody that gets the membership wants it. Remember, Monday we have a members only, a super secret members only, and you only know if you're there. All right, guys. So let's keep going. Thank you, guys. Come on, Cletus. What is that? Isn't Cletus on another channel?
we're going to keep searching, and we're definitely going to keep praying.
Katie said they're going to keep searching and praying and doing all these things until they can find Sebastian and bring him home, which is an interesting choice of words. Remember, Sebastian's a teenager. She's not even allowing for the possibility that he might come home on his own. I would understand if the parents of a toddler like Madeline McCann or Summer Wells said this, but when the parents of a teenager say this, it could be a sign that they know something happened to the kid. That's why they're not even considering the possibility that the kid could return home on their own. The case in point, of course, is Madeline Soto, who actually went missing the same day as Sebastian and was found to have been murdered by her mom's boyfriend, Stephen Stearns. What did he say? That he was never going to stop searching for her and that he was going to bring her home. Or if you saw my recent Scott Peterson video, you'll know I made the same exact point in that video. And in that case, it was even more egregious because his wife, Lacey, who was missing.
And next week, you guys, speaking of Scott and Lacey Peterson, that was my hometown Modesto before this. I lived there. I've been reporting on Scott. Next week, I'm going to report on Scott Peterson. So for those that are asking, if you know the case, cool. If you don't, come over, check it out. I'm going to talk about the new DNA evidence, and we're going to play a little 10-minute clip about if Scott Peterson is fooling any of us. And do we think he's going to fool a new jury if he gets a retrial? All right. So that's next week. Tomorrow's Friday. So you guys know Friday is usually my last day of the week, but I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to do a double. We're going to do Kaimani Latigue first, and then we're going to do Emily Pike. All right. But right now, Sebastian, will he ever be found? And let's talk about Chris and Katie.
Was a full-grown adult.
This guy.
So it really made zero sense for him to say that she had to be brought home. Now, does this mean that Katie killed Sebastian or she knows for a fact that he's dead? Of course not. But it is worth noting.
You've told me you do want to stay positive. I know you both want to stay positive. That's all part of it. So in your mind, do you see Sebastian coming back through your front door? Do you feel he's okay? He's alive. He's out there.
I dream about it every day. I dream that one day I'm gonna wake up and this is gonna be a nightmare. But
why is she laughing?
Yes,
Smile like that.
I
What
believe that my son is out there somewhere. I believe that we are going to find him. We
Of
are
course
going
he's
to
out
bring him
there
home,
somewhere.
and we're gonna find a way to recover from this. And
I can't wait to hear what Dee says about find a way to recover from this. We haven't even found him yet. And Krista, I actually want to weigh in on that. I hope you guys come next week to talk about Scott Peterson. I actually know somebody that works there at Mule Creek, and I got some things to tell you about that. It's pretty crazy. And that's where he's housed at Mule Creek. Now, this person can't say anything because they're a staff member. I can't quote them or any of that. But I got to tell you, some of this stuff is absolutely just false. When you hear reporting on it, and we're listening to like Vinnie Politan talking about the pickleball match, and you hear the guy, I don't know if you heard, but he got Scott Peterson got beat up in a pickleball match. Oh my God. It's not even what you guys think it is. Yeah. Duper's delight. I do like that term, but I think part of it is going to be that, and Deception Detective will call that out.
I'm going to watch him grow into a young man and, live the life that he deserves to have.
Oh, yeah. I'm covering a second part of this.
What would you say to him when he walked in that door?
Oh, God, I don't even know if I'd be able to speak. I'd probably bulldoze him down with hugs. Honestly, when I picture that, I just picture being able to hug him, to hold him, to smell it. I mean, just to be able to hear his voice, to hear his laugh.
I wonder what
to see him just
Chris looks like next to her. What does he look like?
Be with us and be okay is like I can't wait to see my son. I want to find him so bad.
Two more unusual word choices. First, I think Katie's only said Sebastian's name once this entire interview, which is unusual and could be a sign of distancing language. In other words, the instinctive mental block between a perpetrator and their victim's name. Once again, this is something we saw in the Madeline Soto case, and one of the reasons I was able to finger Stephen Stearns as the murderer and her mother as being complicit in her exploitation. But the second interesting word might be even more telling, potentially. And lots of you have pointed it out to me in my comments or in the DD forum and on X. But I think it was actually Mike DeMann who was the first one to point it out. And that is when Katie said earlier, I'd probably bulldoze him down with hugs, when she was talking about what she would do if Sebastian walked in through the front door. I've never heard that expression before. I don't think it's a common expression. And the use of the word bulldoze might be an example of leakage. And before you write,
yeah, there's a lot of different kind of leakage in here. Again, we have a whole other one. If you guys are strapped in, you should buckle up because we have more. I saved these interviews that DD put out so I can give you a full episode. You know, we usually do like an hour and a half and more. Mary Beth Carswell, welcome. First time catching it live. Welcome her, everybody. Thank you for being part of the crime crew. I hope you keep coming back for more information. And I love that we're talking about that in chat. We're talking about the case. And if we're not talking about that case, we're talking about another case that we want updates on. We're not talking about each other or disrespecting each other. We're talking about the case. That's what we're here for.
Write this off as a long shot. Just know that leakage is how I was able to determine Madeline Soto's cause of death before her body was even found.
Yes.
So why might bulldoze be an example of leakage? Well,
I can't
Sebastian's
breathe.
stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, who was allegedly out of town when he disappeared, operates heavy machinery. And second, the police at least had some reason to search a local landfill for Sebastian early on in the investigation. So this bizarre word choice might actually be Katie subconsciously revealing what she knows about Sebastian and where he might be, because when she talks about him, this is one of the words that bubbles up to the top of her brain. Long shot? Yes. Worth noting? Yes. Let's keep listening.
You think he's coming home, right? How would you describe what you all have experienced this last year with so many unanswered questions still?
It's horrific, to be honest with you. I don't know how to describe what it feels like to watch the news, to go hang flyers in every store, every business, every place that you go to, and still find that some people don't even know about it.
No, so you might as well not do it because you already know what happened, right?
To hear that there might be a lead, and then just to sit there and have to wait and find out that it's not him yet. And it's
pure hell.
He always fills in when she doesn't know what to
there's
say.
nothing you can, there's no words, there's no way to put how this actually feels. And anybody that can, I don't see how.
Lots of problems here, so let's go through them one by one. First, it's not hard to describe how you're feeling if you're actually feeling what you're supposed to be feeling.
Right.
But it is hard to describe
There
how
you
you're feeling
go.
if you're pretending. In other words, if you're not actually clueless about what happened to your kid, it's really hard to describe the emotions you should be feeling if you were. In fact, it might be the hardest thing any liar has to do, and how we've caught so many hoaxers on the channel, because we always speak based on everything we know. So if you know something, it's really, really, really hard to talk as if you didn't know it. In fact, it might even be harder than the inverse, pretending that you know something that you don't, because there's more opportunity for leakage. And my second problem with this clip is actually a case in point of that. It's what Katie said when she was talking about getting new leads. Here's what she said. There might be a lead, and then to just sit there and have to wait and find out that's not him yet.
This
If
is
you
a
don't know
great
what happened to your
point.
son, how do you know from the moment you hear about a new lead what you're going to find out? Every new lead should be an exciting mystery, full of hope, only for a crash letdown when you find out it's not Sebastian. Not a waiting game where you're just sitting there waiting for the result you know is going to come. Finally, we have more distancing language. In fact, this might be the most egregious example of it.
Absolutely.
When Katie was talking about going into places and finding out that they've never even heard of Sebastian, she didn't actually say, I'm surprised they haven't heard about Sebastian or his disappearance. She just said it. And that's particularly disturbing because that's the sort of distancing language that we saw in the Madeline Soto case. And we do know now that Madeline was abused, neglected, and ultimately murdered by her mom's boyfriend.
There's no words, there's
Ex-boyfriend.
no way to put.
Ex-boyfriend. And yes, let's pass this over to Chris to describe what he doesn't feel. We know he feels angry many times. We know he cares about what social media thinks about him, and he listens to all the different, whatever you want to call them, podcast shows. Also, that is very contradicting. It's like a roller coaster, guys, all the ups and downs. But then it's also like Groundhog's Day where everything's the same, right? Yeah, I agree with that. Acting guilty, the non-emotion, but the things that they do say, I believe a lot of it's scripted. And that's why they can't get into their feelings and emotions. And she looks to Chris so many times to talk about what she's supposed to say.
How this actually feels. And anybody that can,
Oh, yeah.
I don't see how. I mean, it's day-to-day life changes and you're stuck. It's almost like it feels like it's a Groundhog Day thing where it's the same thing over and over. You wait, you hope a phone call may come in, you may get something, may get a lead. Turns out to be nothing. That's how it feels.
What is that message? I know we were talking earlier last week. Tell me what that message is that you want to make sure our viewers hear from you tonight.
I want to thank everyone who is searching. I want to thank everyone who is spreading flyers, spreading awareness.
Do you?
I want to
Do
ask
you really?
everyone not to
Hey,
forget.
Tiff.
And I want to encourage people to keep helping and to keep bringing awareness, not only to our son, but to all of the missing children, because they all deserve to go home. And I would also like to say that if my son could hear it, that we love him so much and that we are going to keep searching. We are going to keep looking. We are going to find him and we are going to bring him home.
Yay. All right, no tears. Again, Mary Beth Carswell, thank you so much for becoming a member. And yes, my friend, Prophet Frere, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you did win the tumbler. Reach out to guiltyofcrime.merch@gmail.com. Now, if you're in the United States, then of course we pay for shipping. All right. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, why aren't you spreading and looking for Sebastian? Now I did see the whole thing where she was in the car and her window was closed, but I only take that with a grain of salt because they don't know how long we got to see that for, or if it was just one frame of her having it closed. Maybe she closed it for a minute and it was so I don't know. I didn't see that, but from what I hear, she wasn't really looking or doing anything. And why doesn't she talk to him directly? Because she's distancing herself. Everything she says is so distancing. I'd like to say she talks like it's not her that it's happening to.
Describe your hope right now.
If you saw my last video in the series, you'll know that I think Katie has been watching my videos
Thank you.
and tailoring what she says in her interviews to
Awesome.
match what I say an innocent person should say in interviews if they actually don't know where their kid is. For
Okay.
example, one of the things on my checklist is that the parent should address their child through the camera, because if they don't know what happened, as far as they know, their kid might be out there and might be watching. But the mistake that Katie is making here is that she's not actually addressing Sebastian through the camera. She's telling the journalist what she would want to say to Sebastian.
Yeah.
And that's just not what innocent parents we've seen on the channel, at least, do. For example, Seth Rogers, Sebastian's biological father, addressed him directly multiple times.
Hey.
Nor does Katie do other things like plead for any potential kidnappers who might have her son to return him. And in one of the most heartbreaking videos I've ever done,
I would like to say under the Mystic Moon 111 that you're right and you're funny. I'd like to say hello to the people in chat. I'd like to say, DD, give us some more content. Come on, lady. Like, yeah, who third party calls law enforcement? Jen Soto does. Jen Soto didn't even want to call the news or law enforcement, but the family forced her to. That's who third party calls law enforcement and doesn't call 911. Yeah, Katie and Jen Soto went to the same liar school. All right, so Krista says, Jay, she got a phone call and had to come back to the house right away. Okay, Katie did. So you guys, you saw it, the video, and she was driving around yelling for Sebastian with the window closed. Okay, that makes sense. So guess he's 16 now. Just thought of that. Yeah, his birthday was a little while back. And I think we did an episode for that. All right, let's keep going. We got more.
we saw Michael Monkey Vaughn's mother do just that with someone who she thinks took her son. But Katie said plenty of other things here that jumped out to me as red flags. And since I want to do this justice, let's break here. We're about a third of the way through the interview. I'll put my last video on your screen now so you can check that out. If you want to continue the series, let me know by liking, commenting, and sharing. Until next time, stay true.
All right, so we have another one. We have a couple, but I'm going to do the next one. I like the It Gets Weirder, and then I'm going to look for that video of Katie driving and not even calling out for him with the window closed. If I could find that without having a whole stream, right? Or if anybody has it, email it to me, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. this is getting weird now. And I believe I use this
What
as
do
the
you want to
cover.
say to anyone
Check it out.
here
All right.
who wants to say that one of you could have something to do with Sebastian's disappearance?
We do say that.
I would say to pause and to think, and I would say to consider the sources of information. Try to make sure that you're getting legitimate information. Avoid the rumors.
That's Katie Proudfoot, and I think she and her husband Chris Proudfoot both have something to do.
Yes, yes, yes. I want to ask Katie. I would like to say, Katie, what were you doing between 10 o'clock and 6 a.m. in the morning and talking to Chris for 3 hours? What was happening on that call? Was Chris actually not there, or was he? Lady for Justice, if you can email that to me, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com, that would be awesome. All right, let's keep going. You guys don't forget, in the middle of this, hit the like. If you're new here, hit the notification bell so you can see all of my streams.
Do with the disappearance of their son, Sebastian Rogers. So her message there was for people like me. And it was actually pretty encouraging because she didn't say that we're wrong or mistaken or lying, nor did she say that she and Chris are innocent or that they didn't have anything to do with the disappearance. So in today's video, let's continue analyzing their most recent TV interview for signs of guilty knowledge. I'm deception detective and attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit like and subscribe. For early access to new videos, exclusive videos, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. Even if you're familiar with this case or have been following along on my Sebastian.
So the drive, the 3-hour drive, I don't know. I don't have his phone records. I don't know if he was on there for 3 hours. I don't know what that 3 and however many specific minutes that he said that he was, that it takes him to get there. I don't know what they were really doing. That's what I want to know. When did he come? Was it before that? I mean, what's happening here? We don't know because police aren't looking into them. Police didn't track them. Police didn't do what they did with Soda, with the Sotos, right? Jen and Stefan. They didn't. They didn't track them. They didn't do any of that I know of. All right. How is it Katie, after a very long night of whatever, was freshly showered and her hair gelled the following morning? Because she had lots of hours in between. Yeah, I will Google it. I'll Google it, but I wanted to see if somebody has a clip. That's what the crime crew does, right? All right.
Sebastian Rogers playlist. You might not be aware of the newest development in the case. So here's a quick update because they're about to touch on this new lead in this part of the interview.
The teen with autism disappeared from his mom and stepdad's Hendersonville home in the overnight hours of February 26th.
We do believe there's a chance it is Sebastian. We're just trying to find out if that could be the case.
Steve Fisher, a private investigator hired by Katie and Chris Proudfoot, says this video that first aired on WSMV4 could be a new lead in the ongoing search for Sebastian. Video from the night Sebastian disappeared.
We went through over 100 hours of surveillance, and it wasn't until the third pass through the surveillance that we even spotted this person. And there's a person at 12:17 a.m. in the same neighborhood that Sebastian's from. That walks southbound in the neighborhood, goes behind a vehicle. It appears that they're trying to stay out of sight of another person that's walking their dog, and then doubles back after it's clear.
Fisher says he's working to learn if that person wearing dark clothing in the video is accounted for.
Again, this is another video that is very similar to the Sotos and Jen Soto and Stefan Stearns that keep focusing on the video at the church. Look at the church. Look at the church video. I'm sure it was Maddie there walking around. Well, Maddie never even made it past Stefan Stearns' car alive. I'm sure she wasn't alive before she got into his car. So that wasn't her on the video, but yet they keep focusing on that and focusing. Yeah, he had this odd 3 hours and 37 minutes doorstep to doorstep. And then in 1 minute flat, he searches that house. No possible way. Yes, that is the key right there. There's too many hours unaccounted for. All right. And yeah, I don't blame you stopping Sebastian's case due to the drama. It's still too much. People are still streaming this case hours and hours a day, every single day. And I don't even know what's happening. I just know what's happening, what's documented. All right. I know it wasn't her. She obviously wasn't alive. And I don't believe this had anything to do with Sebastian. I believe they're trying to point us in a different direction and have us not look at them.
In the investigation.
So the Proudfoot's own private investigator says that there might be video footage of him sneaking away in the middle of the night. put a pin in that because that's
I
going to
don't-
be important as we listen on. Finally, one last thing before we grab our deception decks and start analyzing Chris and Katie. I think Katie and Chris are studying my videos and adapting what they say in interviews to try to sound more innocent. And I'm aware of how self-centered that sounds, but many of you all who have been following this case since day one in far more minute detail than I have seem to agree. So when
Hey,
I point out some of those features like I'm about to do in a minute, just be aware that I'm only pointing it out because I think it's actually happening. All right, without further ado, let's listen.
What is that message? I know we were talking earlier last week. Tell me what that message is that you want to make sure our viewers hear from you tonight.
I want to thank everyone who is
I want to.
searching. I want to thank everyone who is spreading flyers, spreading awareness. I want to ask everyone not to forget, and I want to encourage people to keep helping and to keep bringing awareness, not only to our son, but to all of the missing children, because they all deserve to go home.
So all the missing children.
And I would also like to say that if my son could hear it,
Hear
we love him so much, and that we are going to keep searching. We are going to keep looking. We are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Hold on. Come on, internet. At least it's not cutting out.
There's so many problems here. This is actually where I left off the last video because I just didn't have the energy to break it all down. So we're going to do that now. And what's going to guide us is this simple principle. The entire principle.
All right, we love it. And Deception Detective, you're not saying anything that's far-fetched. I do believe they watch your videos as well. And I do know that the Sotos watch my videos. And now we know that Stephen Stern's side does too, right? We know that the Stephen Stern's parents, Deb and Chris, watch our videos here. And I don't know what access Stefan has, but I'm sure if he does have any kind of access, he knows about our channel as well. I do not know Lil Red. I'm not trying to hate on anyone. I just don't know how you can talk about it for 4, 5, 6 hours a day, multiple channels. If anybody really knows, let me know. I'd like to thank the Academy, the local Playhouse Theater, and my grade school drama teacher, says Katie. All right. I still did not find that video of her driving around, so I'm still looking at it.
Behind my entire channel. Lying is hard. It's like cooking. You can have the whole recipe right in front of you, but that doesn't mean that when you get in the kitchen and start actually cracking eggs, you're going to make an omelet like Gordon Ramsay. And here's what I mean.
Not
Katie
me.
did 2 things in this part of the interview that match my missing child presser checklist. These are 7 things that I've noticed that innocent parents typically do spontaneously when they have an audience. For example, they have a call to action, like giving out a phone number to call if you spot their kid, or telling you where to go pick up flyers to help hang them, or giving out a website for people to go to register to become a volunteer. But all Katie did was say that she
Right.
just wants people to keep helping. She didn't even ask for more people to start helping. In other words, it looks like she's following the recipe to sound innocent, but it's a lot harder than it seems. The other thing all the innocent parents we've analyzed on the channel do is they directly address their kid through the camera. And that's because, for all they know, their kid might be out there watching. This instinct is so strong, I even posted an example of Kyron Hormone's mother doing it through a billboard. I promise I will find you. I will never stop. Love, Mama. And while Katie did address Sebastian, she didn't directly address him. She told the journalist what she would say to him in the third person, which isn't the same thing, but reinforces my belief that she's following my recipe and failing to understand just how nuanced that recipe is. And when I hit play, I'm actually going to rewind a bit because you can see the exact moment this idea occurs to her, as though it literally were an item on a checklist. But before I do, I want to point out one final red flag in this segment, and that's when Katie talked about other missing children. Now, I can understand that if Sebastian's body had been recovered, or if he'd been missing for decades, and now these parents became advocates for missing children around the world. But he's only been missing for a year. So the last thing I would expect her to do is basically encourage volunteers to move on to other cases. All right, let's keep listening and pay attention right when I hit play.
And I want to encourage people to keep helping and to keep bringing awareness, not only to our son, but to all of the missing children, because
All
they
of
all
the
deserve to
missing-
go home.
Yes, they do. Next.
And I would also like to say that if my son could hear it, that we love him so much, and that we are going to keep searching. We are going to keep looking. We are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Describe your hope right now.
All right, and then this is hard for her to do because she's got to think about what she hopes for. If it were myself or yourself and your dog was missing, you would directly say, I want whatever the name of my dog is. And you guys, I put flyers up, you guys know the deal. All right, let's keep going. Somebody would email me that lady for justice, guilty of crime by j@gmail.com. Let's go.
I'm trying to be positive as I can because I know that my son is out there. I struggle to find words to even describe how it feels anymore because it's a living nightmare, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about the fact that Sebastian is out there and that we are looking for him, and we're going to keep looking for him, and we're going to keep praying to God that he is okay. And we're going to bring him home.
Right.
This story, we know it's baffled our Hendersonville community. We know it's baffled the mid-state community. It's baffled much of the country as they hear about it. Is there anything that stands out to you that's the most baffling? Like you're just
bobblehead Katie
trying to understand
how we've gone this long and still haven't found him, honestly, is I don't understand how we haven't found him yet.
Well, you're not really
Why
looking.
do you think
ladies.
Sebastian is still missing?
That's tough to say. I mean, it was the largest manhunt in Tennessee history for a child.
Yeah, we're piling up on all the deception detective videos that just came out in the last week or so, week to 2 weeks. I have one more after this, and it's called Somehow It Got Worse. And I don't report on Sebastian often because there's not a lot new to report, and when I do, I try to get it all out there, right? We try to do as deep of a dive as we can. All right. So welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Roberta Young and Auntie Ree, Sunshine, Psychic Amelia, Tracy with an I. Thank you guys for being here. We hope that you can become a member for Monday. If you can, if you get a membership gifted, that would be awesome. All right, let's get this one and we'll get one last one in there.
And absolutely zero evidence. There's nothing
absolutely zero evidence.
Evidence implies a crime. So the fact that Chris and Katie constantly use that word is not lost on me. And it's definitely not lost on my subscribers either, because many of you have pointed this out in the comments of my last few videos. But what's even stranger is the fact that they say there is no evidence. Because as I showed you in the intro, the most recent update from their own private investigator is that there might be evidence that Sebastian ran away. He might have been spotted on camera. Which makes me wonder what knowledge Chris and Katie have that the rest of us don't, that allows them to rule that out as evidence already. Personally, I think the answer is leakage. As I keep saying, lying is hard, and that's because we always speak based on what we know, even if we're trying to be deceptive. So sometimes the fact that we know something can leak out through what we say. I'm not saying this is proof that Chris and Katie killed Sebastian or that they know he's dead, but it could indicate that they have some knowledge about what happened to him that we don't. Because I saw that video footage too, and I can't say for certain whether or not the person is.
Now, do you guys, whoever is here in chat right now, if you think Sebastian is still alive, maybe they hid him somewhere or something like that, the family has something to do with it, put a 2 in chat. If you don't think that he's alive and that we will probably find his body when we do, put a 1 in chat. I like to know. It's all, we're all here. We have different opinions. I don't think he's with us any longer. And I do think we will find a body at some point. I hope that they bring him home. But I love to see the people that have hope that he's alive and maybe hiding somewhere. So thank you guys. Keep doing that. Let's get this. Leakage is a huge one that you have to watch out for with these parents. I'd love to cover the Kyron Horman case. That one is just leakage, red flags, all of it.
Sebastian or not. To me, it just looks like a clump of pixels that could be anyone.
Absolutely zero evidence. There's nothing out there. Law enforcement's working due diligently. They are working hard over and over and over. We appreciate everything they do. I mean, it is an active investigation, so I don't want to go into it. But
It's an active investigation because they're looking for Sebastian.
It is mind blowing at the same time that it's been a year, and the amount of people that still don't know about this.
That's what they keep focusing on.
It's unnerving, basically.
See, that does bother me when they focus on that, because they're focusing on the fact that focusing on the other side of the coin and the people that don't know. But what about the attention they are getting and the media circus that can actually be helping them? Instead of them fighting with them, they can help them. It just doesn't make sense unless they don't want him to be found. Lil Red says, I wish you would. Guilty of crime. 1, Sebastian's no longer alive. 2, he's alive. I really, truly don't. I don't think that. And I could put a poll up, sure. All right, Jay, you could cover the Tika Lewis case from 20 years ago. Her mom just met with law enforcement. Interesting. Yeah, you can email me, guiltyofcrimeby@gmail.com. All right, and I'll be able to take a look at that.
And I know you both want to try to get the word out as much as possible, and that's what the story, obviously, that's what we're trying to do as well. There are many people who still do not know that you all have hired a private investigator. What can you tell me about the video that he recently has discovered and wants to share? I know this has been shared with authorities now.
Yes.
This is involving the neighborhood that you live in.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell me about that video?
It's eye-opening to see that this is something that recently has surfaced, and it's been this long. It's just taken that long to find something. And what the video shows is kind of mind-boggling. We went from potentially not having a sighting to potentially having a sighting.
Very careful,
And
very
it kind of
meticulous.
changes, like, wait a minute, now we may have something to actually work off of and move forward with and see where this goes. Exercise every avenue to its fullest.
No
It doesn't
stone
matter.
unturned. No stone unturned. And Katie, you told me earlier you were determined to get to the bottom of this, to get to the bottom of that video.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that could possibly be something that could lead us to him. We're going to keep looking. We're going to keep digging and keep finding and confirm if it is or isn't, because, I mean, if it's possible, then it's got to be confirmed.
How hopeful are you that this video truly has something that could lead to finding Sebastian?
In my last video, I pointed
They're
out
like,
something
we
that
hope
Katie said,
not.
which I thought could potentially be leakage, or her revealing through her word choice that she knows that Sebastian is buried somewhere. And that's when she said, if he were to come in through the front door, she would bulldoze him with hugs. I pointed it out because it's such a bizarre choice of words and an expression I've never heard before. So you can imagine how my ears perked up in this video when she used these two expressions: leave no stone unturned, and we have to keep digging. Now, these expressions are far more common, but they have alternatives, and it's not like she was compelled to say them either. So as we continue listening on in this interview, we're going to listen out for words related to digging and hiding things in the earth, whether it's digging machinery or words related to the soil or anything along those lines. And if you caught any that I missed, drop them in the comments. In fact, on your screen now is a video that one of you told me about in the comments on my last video. It's Chris Proudfoot teaching Sebastian how to dig a hole with the mini excavator. This could all, of course, be totally coincidental, but if you followed my channel for a while, you'll know that leakage has allowed us to see around corners on multiple cases.
Yeah, that was interesting when I saw that, guys. I don't know if you saw that, but it was really telling how easy it would be for in that time frame from 10 o'clock at night until 6 in the morning for somebody that has the equipment or knows how to use the equipment or whatever, what have you, to be able to get rid of Sebastian and put him somewhere where they're not going to find him ever or for a long time. So very interesting. Good to see some of you guys rolling in here. What's up, Kim Watts? How you doing? All right, we got one more, and it's a different video. It's a different cut from Fox 17. We have not watched it here before. Deception Detective says somehow it got worse. And then tomorrow we're going to be covering other cases again. Let's finish this up, get to that, and chat.
Cases at this point. And if I were leading the search for Sebastian, I'd be allocating funds towards looking in the ground. Want to continue analyzing this case? Let me know by liking, commenting, and sharing this video. Till next time, stay true.
All right, and thank you,
Today's video-
DD. It's good to catch up on all of this stuff with you guys and hang out. Yesterday, I was cut short in the Madeline Soto case, Madeline Soto / right, Stephen Stern's hearing, so I didn't get to get all my thoughts in and thoughts from other people on the news station that I found very interesting that many people didn't show on their channels and many people weren't watching. So there's a lot of local news people out there in Florida that have opinions on the case, and it's so good to hear everybody coming together in Florida. All right. We're talking about why are Katie and Chris acting so strange in these interviews and letting Deception Detective break it down for us. All right. We talked about an update earlier with the crazy YouTuber Bullhorn Betty versus the Dumbfoots, right? All of it's just a bunch of chaos in the case. And then Dateline picking up on this story a year later. So let's see what happens with that. Somebody says America's Most Wanted is going to come out with an episode of Sebastian. So that's good. That's the right direction. All right. Yeah. Throw Dawn and Candace Wells in there too. Right. All right. Let's go.
Bed December 7th. He would
have past tense.
He turned 16 and he should be home for that.
That's Katie Proudfoot, and I think she knows what happened to her missing son, Sebastian Rogers.
No, I did not need a nap. I was ready to go, and my internet went out, and Comcast told me they weren't going to be back on until 6:45 last night. So I just called it a day. I didn't want to fumble around on here and keep getting kicked off. All right. So, all right, let's keep going.
And it's not just because of slip-ups like that where she talks about him in the past tense. Mainly it's because of the things she doesn't say in her interviews. So in today's video, let's watch her most recent TV interview and I'll show you what I mean.
Thank you.
I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation.
The last
So if that's your
video.
thing, hit like and subscribe for early accurate analyzing Katie. And that's the 7 things I look for when I'm analyzing the parent of a missing child on TV. And coincidentally, I went over those in one of my earliest videos covering this case, where I analyzed Katie and her husband Chris during a TV interview. And even back then, they didn't do any of these things. So here's what we look for. We want the parents to speak about the kid in the present tense. We want the parents to be cooperative. So if they get asked a question, they do their best to answer the question and not over answer, right? So they answer what they're asked, but they're not trying to push a narrative.
And there's another great example of a parent, an actual parent that cares and wants to know what happened to their son and to get justice. Rebecca Michelow's daughter, Brianna Michelow. And Rebecca does the same as well. After Christopher Greger has been convicted, they still want to know all the truths and they want complete and utter justice. And I see Bree on TikTok is doing really well, Rebecca. I see lots of people jumping in on the Corey Michelow case. They want to see change being made and justice and DCP&P do something different. And these parents, that their child hasn't been found, and yet they're just kind of moseying along, in my opinion. All right. I don't think the drama is helping in this case because it makes people hesitant, like myself, and other platforms. You don't see Grizzly True Crime or Plunder. You don't see the big channels, the big true crime channels covering this case because it's so overly saturated and you can't tell what is relevant and what's not. It's really hard to tell. You have to sit back from 1,000-foot view. All right. So I think it's hurting the case to have all the drama and chaos, in my opinion. All right. And yeah, Rebecca and Brianna Michelow, good example of people that care.
Like the McCanns pushing the narrative of a kidnapping when they're asked what could have happened. Third is the parents are inconclusive. So if the parents say 100%, my kid was kidnapped without any evidence that someone broke into the house, or in this case, they say my kid walked away or ran away without any evidence that the kid did that,
I know.
It's a red flag.
I know.
Fourth,
that sucks.
if the kid is missing and the parents are on TV, we can expect them to address a kidnapper. So even if they're not sure the kid was kidnapped, they don't know what actually happened. So we can expect them to at least look into the camera and say, if you have my son, Sebastian, please return him to us. We won't pursue you. Just drop him off at a police station. Fifth, we can expect parents to address the child through the camera. Since they don't know what happened to their kid, for all they know, the kid is watching. So they'll take that opportunity to speak to the kid. Sebastian, we know you're out there. If you're watching this, we love you. We're going to find you.
Who?
Sixth, the parents ask for help. That's the entire point of these appearances. If the parents don't ask for help, it means A, that they might know the kid is beyond any help. They might know the kid is already dead. Or it might mean they have an ulterior motive. They're not necessarily doing this interview to help find.
I mean, nowadays, people, you guys are true crime junkies as well. And every other case that's happening on here is a mom or a parent that did something to their child. I just saw a lady that she got a DUI. She was drunk AF, you guys, and she rolled her car into the water and she left her child in the backseat to drown, strapped in. So when you ask who leaves kids sleeping at Horacio's restaurant during wine drinking, a lot of people do that nowadays. A lot of parents harm their children. They starve them. It's on every other episode, right? They need to donate the ground. I agree with that. They need to donate the grounds where he's working. They need to also be putting funding into looking underground. I believe that's where they should be looking. All right.
Find their kid. They're doing it to push a narrative, or they're doing it to clear their own name. Either way, they have some other agenda, and that's not expected if your kid is missing. And seventh, there's a call to action. So if the parents have to be prompted to say, if you see my kid, call 911, or if they have to be prompted to describe their kid or ask for help, it means that, once again, their appearance was not about finding the kid. There was some ulterior motive, and we need to figure out what that was. Okay, so that's the list. That's what we're going to look out for. And it's not based on some big study or me just sitting in a room wondering what would I do if my kid was missing. It's simply things that I've noticed that actual parents of missing children do spontaneously because they don't know what happened. Whereas hoaxers tend not to do these things. At least they don't do them unprompted because they actually know what happened. So it doesn't occur to them in the first place. All right, without further ado, let's listen to Katie.
The last time I saw my son was when he went to bed.
Tonight marks 1 year since Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his home near Beach High School in Sumner County. He's 16 now, but there are still no confirmed sightings or leads in the case.
Fox 17 News' Kelly Avellino sat down with Rogers' mother, Katie Proudfoot, in the search for her son and the ongoing public scrutiny surrounding this investigation.
3, 2. A voice and an exuberant smile that have been missing for a year that Sebastian Rogers has gone without his favorite things.
Cats are the number one. He loves animals, almost all animals.
Animals, video games, books, and any chance in the pool.
He loves water. He swims like a fish.
Sebastian also missed his birthday.
December 7th.
There you go, guys.
He would
have been 16.
He turned 16. And he should be home for that.
As I said in the intro, it's not a great sign that Katie talks about Sebastian in the past tense, even if it's just a slip up every now and then. And that's because we always speak based on what we know. So if a mother knows that her son is dead or believes that he's dead for some reason, it often slips out through her words. And Katie actually looked like she was aware that she was doing it and huffed and almost made a big deal about correcting herself. So does this mean that she killed Sebastian and she knows something happened to him? No, not necessarily, but we're just taking note of it. It's even a card in the deception deck. And that's because Susan Smith in 1996 famously talked about her sons in the past tense, when at the time, just like Sebastian, they were just missing. Yeah. So even though we're only 1 minute into this heavily edited interview, we already have Katie violating the first rule on my missing presser checklist, talking about the kid in the past tense.
December 7th. He would have
been.
He turned 16, and he should be home for that.
But Sebastian, who has autism, hasn't been home since February of last year. After dinner at the Texas Roadhouse on the 25th, Katie says she and her son went home.
Did anything happen the night he went missing that was like caused him to run away? Was he punished in any way? An argument? Just a normal night?
It was a normal night. It was.
Again, remember Jen Soto when the officers came to the door and they say, have you been in a fight recently or anything that would cause her to leave? Oh, no. And then, oh, well, yeah, I'll go get her phone. And you could see they were clearly in a fight weeks ago, and it was an ongoing, recurring fight where Jen would say, I'm kicking you out when you're 18. I'm sure there was a lot more to that. Now, this is a pretty loaded question, but I wish people would double down and double back on this and say, what did you do at 9 o'clock when you got home from 9 to 10? What were you doing when you heard that noise? Okay, after 10, did you go to sleep? Were you watching something? Were you on the phone? What time did you go to sleep? What time did you get up in the morning? What happened in between there? Were you washing laundry that night? What happened? They're just letting this big gap be out there. She definitely knows what happened to Sebastian, Loudmouth says. I just can't understand why they're not pressing forward with that.
It was a calm night.
That turned tumultuous by the next morning.
When I went in his room and he wasn't there. He wasn't in his bed.
Katie says she frantically searched the house and drove around the neighborhood at 6:30 a.m. until she and Sebastian's stepfather, who says he was away for work at the time, called police.
There's lots of problems here, but they really all boil down to one thing, that Katie isn't being cooperative, which is another item on our checklist. In fact, she seems to be going in order of the checklist. And by uncooperative, I mean she's not actually answering the questions that she's being asked, which you'd expect her to do because these are questions that allow her to provide us with information to go help find her missing kid. For example, the journalist asked her about the night Sebastian went missing. And what did Katie say? Well, she didn't actually answer the question. Instead, she sat there silently until the journalist hopped in to break the silence and provided the answer for her. It was the journalist who said, well, was it a normal night? And then Katie repeated that answer. Moreover, the one other detail she provided, that it was calm, is vague, which is another thing that liars typically are. They're vague because if they have a co-conspirator, they need to line up their stories together. So they don't want to give too many concrete details because they might tell different stories and get exposed. Or they just never thought of the details in the first place. Finally, Katie did another thing that was uncooperative and a hallmark of liars who are trying to conceal information.
No.
She told us what she didn't see in Sebastian's bedroom instead of what she did see. For example, were the bed sheets tussled like someone had pulled him out of bed? Or was the bed neatly made like he'd never actually crawled into bed that night? Was the window open? Was his door open? Was the light switch flicked on like he brazenly left in the middle of the night?
Any detail?
Or was it flicked off like he tried to sneak out? We don't know. All she told us is what she didn't see. Again, does this mean that she's guilty? No, not necessarily. But by this point, I've been analyzing them for a year. And I think that Katie does know what happened to Sebastian, even if she doesn't know exactly where he is right now. I won't rehash my full theory here, but I'll link that video at the end of this one if you want to check it out next. Okay, let's keep listening.
Days later, investigators combed through a landfill 2 hours away, still saying they had found nothing.
There is no evidence to support foul play is involved in the disappearance of Sebastian.
But at this point, you don't rule it out?
We're not ruling anything out.
For the next year, any activity involving Sebastian's case would fuel droves of online followers and even a restraining order against one YouTuber.
There were quite a bit of people that were, sending some very threatening and hateful messages to us.
What would you say to those people?
Just stop.
Fox 17 News sent the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the lead agency in the investigation, a list of questions in anticipation of this story, including asking if there are any new leads, what kind of evidence detectives have vetted, and if investigators still believe there is no indication of foul play. Sheriff Eric Craddock responded in an email saying, "This is an active and ongoing investigation. We continue to work with our state and federal partners. We will continue to seek a resolution in this case."
What do you believe happened to Sebastian?
Now, I do wonder why police aren't looking at this even as an investigation that is criminal by any means. Like, what else would have happened? She had Sebastian. They went home supposedly, which we don't know. We don't know if Sebastian was ever seen on camera again after the Roadhouse. So we have no idea. Right. Chris Proudfoot, I don't think he worked at a landfill, right? He worked at a construction site where they dig things up and lay things down. All right. I hit the like as it came in. I love the channel and hit the like at the door. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now Chris and Katie say that officers or law enforcement did take their devices and check through everything, right? Is that correct? I think that they said that. So I wonder how they're looking at it when they're doing searches. What are they looking for? Do they think that he wandered off and then something bad happened to him? They have said it is now a criminal case. Well, who are they looking into? Because Katie was the last person to see him alive, so to speak. That's what I want to know. Yeah, they need more evidence about anything, right? And I would hate to think that they would not be looking for Sebastian's body if he wasn't alive. If they were to find out that he were, and I don't know how would they find out? How would that coincide with each other? How would they know Sebastian was no longer alive to say, well, we're not going to search for his body? I don't know if that goes hand in hand with each other. All right, let's get. I know, Chris. Thank you for bringing that up. Chris's shirt said "Pig Fest" on it. What a shirt to wear, right?
Unfortunately, over the last year, I have thought every single day, night, every moment of every possibility of something that could happen to him, where he could have gone, if he had gone with someone, if someone took him willingly, unwillingly, if he'd run away and got lost, if he'd a million different things. And unfortunately, I don't know.
When this interview first came out a month ago, lots of my subscribers told me that they thought Katie had been watching my videos and adapting what she said in interviews to match my list. And that might be the case. But the problem is, lying is hard. It's really hard. For example, she just said that she doesn't know what happened, and it maybe Sebastian ran away, maybe he was taken. All the things I said innocent parents should say, right? All options should be on the table if you don't know what happened, and there's no evidence to suggest one scenario over another. But the problem is, just like any bad scriptwriter or actress, Katie is telling, not showing. In other words, if she really thought it was possible that Sebastian might have been kidnapped, why is she not addressing any potential kidnappers? She's on TV right now. Katie never addresses him through the camera either, saying something like, Sebastian, if you're out there, dial 911. Mommy and daddy are looking for you.
Right?
So when I say lying is hard, that's what I mean. Acting is easy. Faking body language stuff is easy. Actually writing the script for something that you're not actually experiencing is very hard. That's why even blockbuster movies with multiple scriptwriters, continuity, proofreading.
Right. And that's why I wonder where the case is, guys. We're over a year here, over a year with Sebastian gone. What are they doing? I mean, we hear about the case every day, right? When we're scrolling on YouTube, and many of us keep going because we're like, oh, it's probably, just the suppositions or videos retreaded, which is what we're looking at now. This is a retread of a video that Deception Detective came out with to look at the body, or statement analysis, not body language. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't rule anything out of what they're watching, because they do watch YouTube. They go on different channels, and the ones that are live and they can hop on. When I say they, mostly Chris, they go on and he tries to protect his name or whatever.
Readers, etc., still have plot holes.
Unfortunately, I don't know.
But Katie and a private investigator she retained believe this piece of surveillance video taken the night that Sebastian went missing could be a lead in the case.
1217, a couple 100 yards away, there's a figure.
The Sumner County Sheriff said the video has no relevance to the case, but the Proudfoots aren't dismissing it until the identity of the person is confirmed by investigators. Unfortunately, any possible break in Sebastian's case has gone nowhere.
No child goes poof. He's somewhere.
Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, has also endured a year without his son.
Sebastian, son.
Seth brought in a team offering their own reward of $347,000. That's on top of the FBI's $50,000 reward.
Yeah. Stop looking is to give up hope.
Hope that's still evident among volunteer searchers.
I'm not going to stop.
Missing signs and ribbons in Sebastian's favorite color.
God, right now we're seeking you to reveal the truth to us.
Katie says detectives searching for that truth left no question unasked.
Lie detectors.
Yes.
For yourself
and my husband.
Which Katie says they passed. We don't know what investigators say about the test, but Katie says they have searched her home.
Thoroughly, many times. Cadavers, searchers.
What do police tell you at this point? What do they think?
Unfortunately, that they have zero evidence.
Zero trace of the boy with a smile that's imprinted on countless hearts, especially, Katie says, on her own.
I would just like to tell my son that I love him.
She would like to tell her son that she loves him, but she's on television right now and she has that outreach to say, Sebastian, I love you. If you walked out of the house and whatever she wants to say, but instead I'd like to say it just doesn't add up, guys. And I don't know where this case is going. I also wanted to bring that up about a memorial. It looks like a memorial tattoo to me. It's like a heart, a loving heart with a cross in memory of her son. Like she really has accepted that he's not coming back. And I would love to hear their honest opinions. If you were to ask them, do you think he's still alive? That direct question, yes or no. I'd love to hear that. Right? All right. We're almost there, guys. And then I just want to show you a missing person in Michigan, just so you guys can look out for her. They're not doing anything from what I heard, and I was asked to show this flyer. So we're almost there. Hang in there. Thank you guys for being here. If you leave, don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. All right. And we got a whole bunch of episodes lined up for this week and next. So stay tuned.
And to know that we are never going to stop searching.
So a lost smile can be found. Anyone who believes they may have seen Sebastian Rogers should immediately call 1-800-TBI-FIND or the Sumner County Sheriff's
911.
Office. There is a vigil for Sebastian this Saturday, March 1st at 2 p.m. at the Celebration of Life Church in Hendersonville. And we will certainly continue to update you on any information we learn in his case. I'm Kelly Avellino.
And voila, Kelly Avellino, the journalist, did what Katie hasn't done in multiple interviews.
Ask for
She actually
help,
asked the
call
public to help look for Sebastian and gave us a call to action, a number to call if we do spot him. And since my audience is so smart, I know you're probably thinking, hey, Dee, didn't Katie just address Sebastian? Well, not really. Once again, it's showing, not telling. First of all, it wasn't spontaneous. It looks like the journalist asked her, what would you say to Sebastian if you could talk to him?
I would say.
And then that's how she answered. She didn't look into the camera and address Sebastian directly. She said, I would tell him. It's the difference, for example, between saying, I love you and saying, hey, tell my kid that I love them. Only one is a direct address. Finally, I saved my most granular point for last. As you can see here, even the news station that posted this video quoted Katie saying, we're never going to stop searching, which is a great thing to say if you finish that up with saying, we're never going to stop searching until we find our son, because that would imply that you know he might be out there to be found. If you simply say that we're never going to stop searching, that's a different story. That sounds more like OJ, who said he's never going to stop searching for Nicole's actual killer, or any other number of proven hoaxers we've analyzed on the channel who say they're never going to stop searching for the real culprit or their missing kid, or in the case of Scott Peterson, his missing wife and kid. Want more Sebastian Rogers? Let me know by liking, commenting, and sharing this video. Until next time, stay.
All right, guys. So that's it. I mean, we got through the videos. I love the videos. I love watching them with you. Deception Detective. I love his analysis. All right, let's bring this up there. This is from, let's see. Tiff sent this over. Now, Tiff is close to that area. I forgot how many miles away, but this is Inkster, Michigan. Where is London Thomas? Now, people think that if somebody is classified as a runaway or they're dating somebody that they might have took off with, they don't really look for him. So that's what I was told here. London Thomas, where is she? Inkster, Michigan on Saturday, 4/5. Her sister dropped her off at her boyfriend's house. Now, she's 17 and she was dating a 24-year-old. All right. So boyfriend Jalen Pendergrass cell phone last pinged in the area of Ann Arbor Trail between Middlebelt and Inkster Road. I'm not familiar with the area. All right. So you stay near Detroit. So let's take a look. Let's keep going on this. Tattoo on her neck, butterfly heart, last seen wearing a black Michael Myers hoodie, black leggings, and pink Crocs. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. I can't right now. Okay, I can barely read it here. Mom, Jasma Bennett. Dad, Cedric Salisbury. Stepdad, Darnell Johnson. After phone extraction and finding concerning information, they did a raid of the boyfriend's house, you guys, and I don't think they found anything. On April 17th, 2025, the boyfriend, his mother, and grandmother are all taken into custody. Interesting. All right, so that was April 17th, and we're on the 24th today. hashtag bring London home. Okay, so that's that 17 yeah, that happens a lot in a lot of other states will make it legal at 16 to get a tattoo. So yeah, this is near I guess it's near Detroit. It's Inkster, Michigan. You guys spread the word about, I don't know if you know who London Thomas is, but hashtag bring London home. Where is London Thomas? If you guys find out more about this case and you want to send it over to me, yeah, I agree. The boyfriend is the single most dangerous person. He's an adult and she's a child, and it's unacceptable. In my opinion, it was unacceptable to let them date. Maybe they didn't let them, but yeah, for London, all in custody, 4 answers. I agree. They took them in. We don't know what's happening, but you guys, like I said, do me a favor. If you see something, say something. Give somebody a call. I don't know from the area if you can call it in, if there's a tip line. I don't know much about this case, but if you know information as it comes up, feel free to, send me an email, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. There are 222 people. It seems like people are heading out, but 222, say a prayer for justice for Sebastian and for London Thomas. Hashtag bring London home. All right, you guys. Yeah, a lot of teens have tattoos and piercings, but a lot of teens don't date 24-year-olds. I hope. Now, back in the days, it was different. Don't get me wrong. If you're in your 50s or 60s now, it was acceptable way back when to do that. It's no longer acceptable, in my opinion. All right, red flag. I guess I can see with parents' permission. Yeah, it's with the parents' permission. Okay, so I don't have anything. I don't know what crime is. There a website, crimestoppers.com? I don't know much about this case, Tiff. You sent this over, and this is all I have in front of me. So if you have more information about it, drop it in chat. Yeah, I do believe that's statutory rape, in my opinion, but the legal age could be 16. I don't know. I don't look up each state. Sometimes it's 16, sometimes it's 17, and they run with it. But something's not right when they bring the boyfriend and company, including his mom, in for custody. All right. Right. It was okay then, but not anymore. I mean, it was okay by people's standards. I don't know if it was okay for individuals. I don't know how they felt. That never happened. All right. Kim French says Chris Proudfoot is all over YouTube and not searching for Sebastian. Plus CPS reports sham on him. Yeah, that too. He has a lot of CPS reports. And if you find Chris on YouTube anywhere, most of the time it's a pretty toxic conversation that you're going to run into. I try to stay away from that. Rachel says my sister had a baby by 50 something. The old man was 20, or by 50 something, old man 26 years ago. Okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, okay, there you go. Thank you. Why? Age of consent in Michigan, 16. So they let that happen. Seems like something went sideways, and this is where we are. All right, you guys, thank you for being here. We've been here for 2 hours. I appreciate every single one of you for the support, the love, and just being part of the crime crew. I will see you guys tomorrow at 4:00. We're going to cover Kaimani Lateef. There's a lot of new information and supposed information in that case, but there's a lot of real solid information in the case. And then the same thing with Emily Pike. We need to seek the person that did that to her and find out what's going on in that group home. All right. So you guys have a beautiful night. I love each and every single one of you. Thank you for everything you guys do. I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Love you guys.
Guilty of crime. I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime. Are you guilty of crime?